Hello, passionate chicken lovers. What a joy to have you back in the coop. Today, I want to share something that completely transformed my routine and, above all, the productivity of my birds. A few weeks ago, I was very worried because my hens were lethargic and the nesting boxes remained empty day after day. But I found the solution in a place I never imagined: my own pantry. I discovered that a simple powder we all use for cooking has the power to naturally and safely wake up our bird systems. Since I started putting it in their water, it's a whole different story, and the eggs haven't stopped appearing. Stay with me because I'll reveal what it is and how to use it. If you love your chickens and want to see them happy, don't forget to like this video so our community can keep growing. Now let's get started. I remember that Monday morning perfectly when I entered the coop with my empty buckets and high hopes. My hens were there, walking back and forth. But when I checked the nest, the disappointment was total. Not a single egg. 2, 3, 5 days passed, and the situation didn't improve, which made me think something was wrong with their health or their mood. As a breeder, you feel a special connection with your animals, and it hurt me to see them so dull. I didn't want to resort to strange chemicals or expensive products that sometimes promise miracles, but end up affecting the quality of the egg. I knew there had to be a more humane and natural way to help them regain their vitality without stressing them out too much. It was at that moment of frustration that I began to research and remember the advice that grandparents used to give in the countryside. I was looking for something easy to get, and that wouldn't cost me a fortune because keeping a coop should be a pleasure, not a financial burden. That's how this little adventure began that I want to share with each and every one of you today. Question of the day. Have you ever fed your chickens any secret ingredient from your kitchen to improve their health or their laying? Tell me about your experience in the comments. All right, let's move on. One afternoon while I was preparing dinner, my eyes fell on a jar of turmeric powder. I remembered reading about its incredible anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties for humans. Then the doubt arose. If it's so good for us, could this golden powder help my hens feel better and lay eggs again? I decided not to waste any more time and started reading about the benefits of turmeric in poultry. I was surprised to discover that this kitchen ingredient is a natural stimulant for the immune system. Being a natural product, I didn't run the risk of poisoning them, as long as I found the right amount for their daily consumption. That same night, I prepared everything. I looked at that intense orange powder and felt a mixture of doubt and hope. Tomorrow would be the big day when my hens would try this kitchen elixir for the first time. I was excited to see if this small change in their drinking water would make the difference I had been waiting for. At dawn, I cleaned the waterers very well, because the secret of any natural remedy is hygiene. I mixed 1 teaspoon of turmeric for every liter of clean, fresh water. The water took on a very striking, vibrant yellow color, and I confess that I stayed for a long while watching to see if my hens would dare to try it. At first, the most curious ones approached with caution, pecking at the water with that typical bird-like distrust of the unknown. But once they tried it, they seemed to like it because they started drinking normally. There was no rejection, and that was a great relief for me, as I feared the strong taste would keep them away from their necessary hydration. During the rest of the day, I watched them closely while I did my chores in the field. I noticed that they were more active than usual, moving with more agility through the yard. It was only the first day, but something in their energy told me that we were on the right track and that the golden water was beginning to work its magic from the inside. Sometimes we forget that our hens can suffer from minor internal inflammation that we don't see with the naked eye. Turmeric acts as a natural balm that reduces inflammation in their reproductive system and improves their digestion. If a hen feels well on the inside, her body naturally has the energy necessary to produce eggs regularly. Another wonderful point about this kitchen powder is its capacity to fight minor bacteria and parasites. By keeping their intestines clean and healthy, the hens make much better use of the nutrients in the feed we give them. It's as if we were tuning an engine so that it runs perfectly without the need for new or expensive parts. The most beautiful thing about using this method is that it is totally safe for us who later consume the eggs. There are no withdrawal periods or chemicals that pass into the yolk. On the contrary, turmeric can even improve the color and nutritional quality of the eggs. It is a win-win situation. The chickens gain health and we gain better food. Only 4 days passed since I started the turmeric water treatment. I entered the coop without many expectations, trying not to get my hopes up too much so as not to be disappointed. But as I approached the first nest, my heart jumped for joy when I saw a large clean egg with a perfect shell resting on the straw. It wasn't just one. Checking the next nest, I found two more. And in the corner, where the shyer hens usually hide, I found another pair. It was incredible to see how in such a short time my bird's metabolism had reacted so positively. It seemed that the kitchen powder had ignited a spark that had been extinguished in them. That day I left the coop with my hands full and a smile that wouldn't fit on my face. The feeling of seeing the effort and affection I put into my animals rewarded is indescribable. I knew I had to keep documenting this to tell all of you, because these simple solutions are the ones that truly help the small-scale breeder. With the passing of the weeks, not only did the eggs increase, but my hens started to look much more beautiful. Their feathers, which used to look dull and somewhat brittle, began to shine under the sun with an intensity I hadn't seen before. Turmeric also helps skin and feather health, and the aesthetic change was evident. Even the older hens, which we had already written off as retired, showed a new vitality. They started running, scratching harder, and integrating better into the group. Seeing an older hen recover her energy is very rewarding because it reminds us that, with proper care, they can have a productive and happy life for much longer. This change in their physical appearance confirmed to me that turmeric was not just a trick to make them lay eggs, but a comprehensive health tonic. Their combs became redder and firmer, which is the universal sign that a hen is in her prime. It was clear that the golden water had become a fundamental pillar in my coop. Many people ask me if this is done just once, and that's it. But the key, as in everything in life, is consistency. I don't give them turmeric every day without rest. I prefer to do it in cycles of 3 days in a row per week. In this way, their body receives the necessary stimulus without getting too used to it or getting saturated with the ingredient. It is important that the water is changed daily, since turmeric tends to settle at the bottom of the water. Every morning I dump the leftover water, rinse the container well, and prepare the fresh mixture. This small 5-minute ritual is what ensures that the properties of the kitchen powder reach my hens' bodies intact. If you are consistent, you will notice that the laying stabilizes and you no longer have those peaks of many eggs one day and nothing for 3 days. Regularity is what all of us who have chickens at home are looking for. You will see that after a month of following this rhythm, the coop becomes a much more predictable and productive place, which takes a great weight off your shoulders. Sometimes we think that more is better, but with natural remedies, you have to be careful not to overdo it. 1 small teaspoon, the coffee kind, for every liter of water is more than enough to see results. If we put too much, the taste could become bitter, and the chickens would stop drinking, which would be counterproductive. I always recommend starting with a little less than the dose so that they get used to the taste gradually. If you see that your hens are very picky, you can start with half a teaspoon and increase it the next day. Observing how your animals react is the best guide you can have because every coop is a different world. It is also vital to use high-quality turmeric, the kind we buy for our own food. Avoid products that have added dyes or preservatives. Ideally, it should be pure. At the end of the day, what we are looking for is the purity of nature to take care of these beings that give us so much, and they will thank us with top-quality eggs. Not only did I get more eggs, but their quality improved significantly. Breaking the first egg after 2 weeks of treatment, I was amazed by the color of the yolk. It had an intense orange tone, almost reddish, a symptom of a well-nourished hen with a digestive system functioning at 100%. The flavor also became richer, and the consistency of the white was firmer. My neighbors, to whom I sometimes give or sell some eggs, started asking me what I was feeding the hens because the eggs tasted like they used to. It's incredible how a small kitchen powder can transform the final product in this way. Additionally, the shells became much more resistant. Before I had the problem that some eggs broke easily in the nest, but thanks to the better mineral absorption that turmeric promotes, the shells were strengthened. This means less waste and more safe eggs that reach our table from the coop. One mistake I made at first was leaving the waterer under direct sun with the turmeric mixture. I noticed that the heat degraded the properties of the powder and the water spoiled faster. Therefore, I now always place the waterers in the shade in a cool place so that the remedy maintains its full potency during the day. Another important tip is not to use metal waterers if you are going to use turmeric or other acidic or strong ingredients, as they can react with the material. Food-grade plastic or ceramic waterers are ideal as they are easy to wash and do not alter the properties of our golden mixture. Also remember that turmeric does not replace a good diet based on grains and grazing. It is a supplement and extra boost, but your hens still need their daily protein and calcium. If you see turmeric as the perfect complement to a healthy life, the results will be much more lasting and visible. Recently, a fellow local breeder came to visit me and couldn't believe the number of eggs I was collecting. I told him my kitchen powder secret, and at first he was a bit skeptical, as we all are when we hear something that seems too simple. However, he decided to try it in his own coop that same week. A few days later, he called me excitedly, saying that his hens, which were in full molt and laying nothing, had started to reactivate. It was heartening to know that what worked for me also helped others. Sharing this knowledge is what makes our community of breeders so special and valuable. There is nothing more beautiful than seeing the success of a fellow breeder who loves their animals as much as one does. That's why I decided to record this video, so that you who are at home looking for a solution know that you are not alone and that sometimes the answer is right in front of you in your kitchen. Nature always has a helping hand to extend to us if we know how to observe. To finish, I want to remind you that the goal of all this is not just production, but the well-being of our birds. A hen that lays eggs is a hen that feels safe, well-fed, and free of diseases. Turmeric water is just one way of telling them, I care about you and I want you to be well. When we treat our animals with respect and look for natural options, we create an environment of harmony in our farm or backyard. Seeing them run towards you when you arrive with fresh water is one of the greatest satisfactions we can have. I hope this little kitchen powder trick brings you as much joy in eggs as it has brought me. Don't be afraid to experiment with love and patience. Remember that each change takes its time, and that the most important thing is to observe your hens every day. They themselves will tell you with their behavior and their eggs if they like what you are doing. Thank you for letting me into your homes and sharing this little piece of my life with you. I hope with all my heart that this advice is very useful to you, and that soon your nests are also overflowing with healthy eggs. Raising chickens is an art and a blessing, and it makes me very happy to be able to contribute a grain of sand so that your experience is successful and full of satisfaction. If this kitchen secret has transformed the vitality of your coop and the health of your birds, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We are rescuing the natural methods that time has tried to forget. Cultivate the well-being of your farm. The next treasure for your animals will be revealed very soon.